Ja Morant, on the other hand, going to be 26 years old at the start of next season.
I
How are
feel
like I want to hear your
I'm
take on the Ja Morant Memphis situation.
okay, so I feel vindicated. So this has been one of my strongest NBA takes forever, which is if you're under 6'4" in this league and have the ball in your hands a lot, if you cannot shoot John Wall, Westbrook, Derrick Rose, Ja Morant, you're going to have to drive to the basket against bigger players, and you're going to get hurt more often. If you're Steve Nash or Steph Curry and can shoot, it can prolong your career. You can do you don't have to drive. You get a lot of no contact looks. And my take on John Morant was, yes, I always said I thought he was a poor man's Derrick Rose. He was about 15 pounds less than Derrick Rose. And I understand the NBA media. He's a highlight player. Forget the maturity for a second, which is I'm never too hard on guys about maturity. I'm much tougher on football players because they're 23 and 24 years old. You bring 22-year-old, you bring 18, 19-year-old guys into the NBA. Okay, they're gonna screw up. Like first couple years, just build in a really bad decision. Now with Ja, it was worse than that. But for me, it wasn't the maturity stuff because he's a kid. It was okay. He's wildly entertaining. He's an incredible highlight player, but he's not an effective shooter. And by the way, the last several years it's gotten worse and he's hurt more. So he has aged very quickly. So I've never been a fan of hyper athletic guards that aren't particularly good shooters. Now, Westbrook was so athletic that he could be a poor shooter. And, he's bouncing around the league now, but there's just not a lot of Westbrooks historically. And Westbrook mostly is healthy. He's he's like a running back. Ja's not. I mean, what's Ja? 180, 178. So he's spindly. So it's not that I wasn't a fan. He was a spectacular talent. But I think everybody in the league thought Zion and Ja were going to take it over. And it's going to be Bankero and SGA and these players. I mean, it's just interesting how much maturity and hard work matters. You know, J Dub, SGA, Holmgren. I mean, it's just like really focused, driven, aspirational players. And I think it was just too much too soon for him, and he got banged up. And I think Memphis, by the trade, is telling you we're going to start over. We're going to start, and it's the right move. They can't compete. We knew it this year. It's the right move by Memphis. I actually like what Memphis did. It's just they won't be very good for a couple years.
Yeah, we were talking about power earlier, and the one example of a guy who succeeded despite a lack of power is Steph. And
Yeah,
Steph is both a great shooter and someone who has been consistently available to his team. He's been healthy.
yeah, yeah.
And the tricky thing with like Ja's going to be 26 years old at the start of next season. And he's just straight up not as good as he was 3 years ago. Like not as good. He's
Yeah.
just not as good as at basketball. And like
No.
this is the age, 26, 27 is typically the age when players peak. Like Tatum, best season of his career right at this age. This is the age when everyone seems to kind of figure it out. It's kind of where like the meeting point of the mental part of the game and the physical part of the game. And from this point forward, it's kind of like a trade-off. You get a little smarter, a little more skilled, but you get a little less athletic. This is the peak, right? And instead, like his scoring volume has like in 2022 takes his team to within 2 wins of the conference finals. He's going head to head with Steph, talking shit to him, having such a great breakout playoff run. And ever since then, his scoring volume has dropped every season since that year. His efficiency has gone down. He just posted his two lowest games played totals of his career in the last 2 seasons. He's played fewer games in the last 2 years than he did 3 years ago combined. Like it's been a downward trajectory. And so if you're Memphis and you're looking at it, you just got 4 unprotected first round picks from Orlando. There still is some young, exciting talent on the roster. Some guys like Gigi Jackson that are interesting. Zach Edey, that's interesting. They have guys in-house that they can continue to develop and be fun, but they can bring in a massive trove of draft picks by trading Morant and Bane and just doing a full pivot. Not to mention Jaren Jackson, who I think carries a great deal of value somewhere around the league. And so I look at it as like basically it's a turning point for Ja Morant. You either got to commit to him or you've got to get off the ship. And the trade is a clear sign that they're going to get off the ship. Not to mention, like they might look to trade KCP. I wouldn't be surprised if KCP gets moved to a contender at some point in the next season. I think it's just Memphis looking at their situation and going like, we're sick of being in this business.
It's so Ja is such a cautionary tale. When you look at big stars that explode and then fall off and don't eventually rise to the level, it's always kind of a maturity thing. It's almost always that. Like you just couldn't handle the spotlight. Like Zion couldn't handle his weight. Wasn't a terribly focused player. Zion, I thought, was a tremendously just massive torque. There's just nothing like him. I thought Ja was spectacular. But I think it's one of the reasons I like NIL is kids are going to stay in college and they're going to be surrounded by non-basketball players and they're going to be coached hard and they'll go to class and it's a big broad life beyond just basketball and a G League. So I think I've talked about this multiple times. I think NIL is really going to help the NBA and college basketball. And you're going to get more guys. The Auburn player who J-Mac loves. Auburn's got a guard that's explosive. He's coming back to Auburn. He could play in the NBA. It'll make him a better NBA player and a great college player. So, and some of these European guys now are coming over to college basketball. So I think the coaching in college basketball has always been excellent. Sometimes almost too dogmatic, right? Like it's just so coach oriented. But I look at Ja and I think the story of Ja is a little too much too soon and just wasn't quite ready for the stage. I mean, there was a moment in time where you thought for about a year, maybe two, you're like, oh, he's going to be the face of the league. I mean, that was about 3 years ago. And then it all just unraveled. And I don't think we need a face of the league. I thought he, for a while, looked like it. He just wasn't ready for it. It's a lot to ask, and he wasn't ready for it. Sorry to interrupt this great video, but please remember to like and subscribe. Thank you. Now back to the video.
Yeah, what happens in this league, its success is so short-lived because people are coming for you. Like Giannis looks like he climbs the mountaintop in 2021. Looks like he's going to launch this new. Nope, here comes Jokic, and he's the problem. It's like Ja looks like he's about to climb the mountaintop in 2022. Shea and Ant have both lapped him since they've kind of reached their collective ceilings. And like I think I do believe in Ja Morant. I do. He has a supreme athletic trait in the ability to get downhill. He actually is an underrated shot maker close to the rim in terms of like his floater and like little short stuff. I do think there's somebody that should probably consider taking a bet on him or a chance on him. As I look around, we're going to talk about KD here in a second. And KD is, we're going to talk about it in more detail here in a second, but The Athletic has reported that KD is preferring the Spurs, which we'll get to in a minute. But like Houston, if Houston can't get KD, like, would they consider a guy like Ja Morant? Is there a team out there that that's in a tough position that can afford to take that kind of risk? Maybe a Sacramento, a team that's been kind of stuck in mediocrity. Like, is there a team out there that is willing to take a risk on a guy like him? Because I do think the upside is there, Colin. Like, I've seen a lot of stuff over the last couple of days ranking him at various points in the league, and I do think when he's healthy, he's still like right around the 14th or 15th best player in the NBA because no one can keep him in front. He is an extremely talented player. That's the frustrating part, is that it hasn't come together. But I do think that there's somebody out there that's going to take a chance on him. But ultimately, whether or not it works out is going to be whether or not Ja actually makes the changes that he needs to. Like, you got to improve. Like, you have to develop as a jump shooter to take it easier on your legs. If he develops as a jump shooter, it will make his downhill drives more dynamic and less frequent, which will help him stay healthier and available to his team. There is a real upside there. He just hasn't been able to capitalize on it.